Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Compa Talk podcast. This week we have an MLS edition. We also have a new guest with us as well, Connor. He is a good friend of ours. He is an Orlando City fan. And Connor, you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
I mean, yeah, I'm an Orlando City fan. It's sad, but I've been living here all my life, or Florida all my life. Been an Orlando City fan, going to games since I've pretty much been born. Like USL games, I was there when we lifted our second USL title. I was there for the opener in MLS for Orlando City. Um, the only really big occasion that I missed was the U.S. Open Cup that I didn't get to go to, but I have season tickets this year. This is the first time I have season tickets, and I've been pretty much just watching and keeping into soccer my whole life. Playing. I played for I want to say 15 years. I'm 17 now. Um, Playing youth soccer. I've been in the system for so long. Now I know what it takes to get to the level they do. I mean, I'm nowhere close. So, I know how hard these players work to actually get to the level they are, and get to the level um that we all want to be at in our lives.
Okay, so
So,
Connor, like whenever you went into what was like your first experience of like going into, I guess you could say like club soccer and like just like how you kind of got into that. Like how was that whole process for you?
um, well, the first time I got in the club, of course I started playing recreational for like a local at a local like park or something like that. They had a
Hmm.
recreational team out there, and then I was like playing so well, scoring so many goals that I think I bumped into a friend from school's dad at a Publix. And he was talking about it, and my dad was like, "Yeah, sure," and I was like, and I was the best player on the team because I never was in that environment, and the team was so bad that like I started the season playing striker, but we conceded so many goals they had me play defense. So that was my first real opportunity playing, and moving around so much um in the team, like in the team sheet, gave me a lot of opportunities to like develop my game.
Yeah, and I think whenever you play like a different position, like not only like I think it helps as a young player um to kind of like train yourself in a certain position, but I also feel like it's valuable for you to learn multiple positions because at the same time like it helps you understand what each role requires and what is expected of you in that role, so it allows you to better like help your team out in that sense. So I think in that, like, I don't know if a lot of players or a lot of like kids nowadays, they want to play a particular striker, whether they want to be like Neymar or like a Ronaldo or a Messi. Like they have a certain vision of what they want on, or how they want to develop as a player, that they kind of just overshadow what it's like to play other positions and do other stuff like that. So like I think that that's also helpful in the development of not only as the team, but like in terms of like as a player, it helps you just understand a lot more about the game. So I would agree with that. So Connor, what actually got you into the sport? Like what was something that, or how did you get into the sport, I guess you could say?
Well, my dad was a big sports guy. He was mainly baseball. I mean, he played baseball when he was younger. But his parents like kind of took him out of it, like near the high school level, where he would have been able to make big steps to go pro. But having a Hispanic mom, being Argentinian, and my dad already being into sports, they kind of wanted to put me into something um, that they'd want to see me be safe in and kind of like progress and keep healthy. And soccer was there for me since I was younger, and I've always been pretty good at it. Always been able to get on a good team. Always been able to click with other people on the pitch, and also I remember my dad like got me FIFA 13 when I was in my first house because I've moved twice. So in my first before I moved my first time, my dad got me FIFA 13, and that was like the first time I got to like really see, dang, there's a lot of really good players, so many leagues, everything's going on outside of the United States. So then, I kind of got into the Premier League after I moved my first time in like 2015. That's when I really got into the Premier League. But, I was kind of watching a bit of Champions League games, as I mentioned before. Orlando City, I don't even really remember too much. Watching the USL Championship game that we played, or the game that we to win the title, and I don't remember too much because it was so long ago. But Kevin Molino, he's one of my favorite Orlando City players ever. Seeing him score, and it was so surreal. It was amazing, and it just kind of got me hooked forever.
Yeah, so touching base on the Premier League, like what got you to become a Crystal Palace fan? That's always been my question with you, and I don't think I've ever gotten a straight answer because like every single time we talk either about the Premier League, like just in Discord or whatever, whenever we're talking football, you're a Crystal Palace supporter, and I never understood it because it's not a club where you're like, that's a club I want to support. You know, everyone
That's a weird ass club to support, by the way. I've never heard somebody say like, "Oh, I'm a Crystal Palace fan" with pride. Up
like
until
like
I got to you.
like honestly, like I think whenever it comes to, like stateside, like a lot of people are either like Arsenal fans or like any fans of the top six, whether it's Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, Manchester City, United, Liverpool. Like that's the fan base that's ever like that gets taken
Dude,
around here.
even Everton, but Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and you'll
Right.
you'll get the occasional like Everton fan because of the Landon Donovans and the Tim Howards that played for the club. So like you'll have those fans, and I think even Fulham might have a couple U.S. fans just because Dempsey played there. But like
In the current roster they have with
yeah,
Rice
with
and Reed.
like, but Crystal Palace is it's a small club in terms of like all the other clubs that you can support. So what got you to support them?
Well, I mean, first I really love Liverpool, and what really got me into Liverpool was I remember one of the first Premier League games I ever watched. Like it was Liverpool versus West Brom. It was like a 1-1 draw or something like that, where Divock Origi scored this absolute screamer, and like watching the atmosphere at the club, and watching the fans, watching how everyone reacted to that goal, it kind of got me like, damn, that's a team I'd like to watch, like to support. And then watching like, I really like Origi, you know. So then watching him do what he did in the Champions League, it was amazing. But then I felt bad. I felt really bad because I was like, I don't want to be one of those guys that goes and hunts for championship teams. Like, I kind of want to just like watch a team and be able to. Like, there's a point where I was watching Liverpool and I was just like, this is boring. Like, we're winning too much. I like to have a bit of suspense. Like when you win, like you want to feel like, holy crap, we won. Oh my
so
God, that's amazing.
so you went from the
So,
spectrum of supporting a club that wins to supporting a club that is
that's
mid-table
that like
mediocre. Like not.
I won't say that. I'd say more like me, when they win, like it means so much more.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Like when they pull off one of those games against Man City, like that was my first time watching Crystal Palace and being like, that's really cool. This is a really cool team. But the man, pretty much, I really liked Eberechi Eze.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of got me into looking at Crystal Palace as like a team that I like to watch. Then like after Eze, I remember Patrick Van Arnholt was another player that I that I had used to pick up in
Hey,
fantasy a lot.
shout out to Patrick Van Aanholt, dude. That was the best, one of the best left backs in the Premier you could get back in like FIFA 17,
Yeah,
bro. Shit was
honestly. And then
crazy.
there was like, then you had Joel Ward too.
Yeah.
He started
Yeah,
for most of my freaking FIFA 17.
Teams.
yeah. And then you
Yeah.
had Jack Butland as well coming.
Yeah, Jack Butland in goal.
Oh, he was
Jack,
annoying. You know what? I was one of those who was like, you know what? I'm not gonna use Jack Button in the goal just because
yeah,
everybody's
Jack
using him and
Butland's
he's OP. But he was OP, right?
Butler
And
was OP in Prem Fantasy. When we got him on our team like very recently, I was like, it would be funny, wouldn't it, if he started playing games?
So
But
now that we're on the FIFA topic as well, Connor, I don't like most of you that will follow like my FIFA stuff and everything that I do when it comes to either creating tournaments or whatever. Connor is one of the people, at least from our end, that we know that is very successful at the game. For whatever reason, the man's not signed yet. We didn't get that fixed, but uh,
he's got to go pro Orlando if
but
you want to team him up with Remy Martin.
yo,
Por favor.
EMLS, hit him up. Come on now. But
I mean, that'd be
uh,
a dream.
he's definitely at least on the FIFA scene and the FIFA side. He's definitely competed in tournaments, giving pros a run for their money. But it's also something that I know that you like to stream as well. So like whenever you play FIFA, like what is your go-to player? Like who out of everyone in FIFA 23, who is your favorite player this year?
It's really weird because I haven't had many like big game players, like a lot of superstars that everyone else has, like Ginola, Mbappe. I don't even think I've tried Mbappe on FIFA 23, apart from like Foot Draft. But
Hey, you
but
got
if
them
there's a player,
loans. You got
There's
them
a guy
loans.
with a massive afro there that you keep telling us about.
Hey, I
Hey, you want to
know.
tell us his name?
I know, but wait, Connor, you got
Sean.
them loans. You got them loans. You got them
Um,
loans, dude. Use them.
the one player that I will say always like I always want to try and get on my team. I'll say two, but I'll point towards one as like one player that I really enjoyed playing with, but I just couldn't get on my team recently because of his league. It's been the showdown Enzo Fernandez.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like he does everything in my midfield. Like he's everywhere for me. And very recently I had to get rid of him because I had to pop in Zidane in my team, Benzema, or the team of the year Benzema, and I had to like kind of change stuff around to get the Catalara on my team. So I couldn't really have him in my team anymore. But like since he got in and since he got like after he got out, I can feel his presence in my team. Like when I put in Vitinha, the
Hmm.
future stars for him, I could instantly feel that Enzo Fernandez was gone because he's so good.
Yeah, I think
And
there's players like that in the game where you could just feel like they feel replaceable, right? And I'll spin it off to this. Morientes, everyone talks shit about Morientes and he's terrible, but dude, no, I don't know what it is. I've had all three of his cards this year. Morientes is just a different gravy, dude. It's just a different gravy. But I understand what you feel because even though a like for like replacement, you can replace him for anyone. It just doesn't feel the same. So I get what you mean when
yeah,
when replacing Enzo. Like there's a big like gaping hole in your team that's missing. It's not there.
It's that club hero. You
yeah,
can't replace him, and that's the thing, right? It doesn't matter who you put in there, right? It's just you can't
I,
replace the guy.
I have a second player too, and my second player is World Cup Captivia, which is
Oh
a
yes.
player that pros used to use a lot, and I've had him very, very long ago, since he was like 600k or whatever. Actually, he might probably still be 600k. He's just so good. He hasn't left my team since I got him. I remember at the beginning of FIFA, I had like players like Mendy, Hernandez. Like, instantly off the bat, I'd get all the left backs, and then I got like Roberto Carlos's baby card, and then I'm like, all those left backs, Captivia starts every time.
Yeah.
He's always there. He never gets replaced.
He legit is probably one of the best left backs in the game. But I want to transition. It's to uh MLS, right? Because this is we are doing MLS this week for the podcast. MLS Honda. What got you to support the Galaxy? What was the tipping point where you're like, I want to support this team?
It was at a very young age. I was just looking to like the local teams and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? LA Galaxy is pretty much the only thing right here because soccer back then, or football, right? It wasn't really like around as it is today. Like, and even today, it's still not as big. But what got me into it was pretty much popped up the popped up a game on the TV, right? LA Galaxy was playing. I was like, you know what? Let me sit down and watch this. I saw Carlos El Pescadito Ruiz. If you guys know the name, goddamn, what a throwback! Holy crud! Yeah, he was one of the main players that got me into like MLS.
Hmm. So like,
Oh
so
yeah.
like, for me, it really wasn't any traditional route, right? Because like, what got me into watching or supporting MLS was actually very, very different to everyone else. So this started right even before I started streaming. Like, uh, we were in Casey's chat, so shout out to her, by the way. So we were in Casey's chat. We were just talking about MLS because she used to work for the Fire, at the time, and we were talking about MLS, and everyone else was talking about MLS. Like, I was like, damn, like maybe I should start watching this because I felt left out, and I was like, I need to like support a team or pick a team, and I was like, I have two main teams, right? I have two teams that I could decide to support. I could either go to Minnesota and support Minnesota United, but or support the Chicago Fire. And I was like, in terms of proximity, the Fire are a lot closer to me than Minnesota was. So I was like, if I ever really wanted to go to these games and actually support the team proper, there was an easier opportunity for me to support the Fire than it was Minnesota. So I opted for the Fire, and as much as I love to support this club, and I try my hardest to keep optimism. It's hard. It's hard. I think everyone knows that we are not. I wouldn't say we're the worst team in MLS this season, but we are one of the bottom teams in MLS, and it's just one of those processes where like the first year that I watched the first season was in 2020, so that was the first season that I watched, or no, it would have been 2020, the 2021 season. Um, so that was when we had players like Medran and Aliseda. And Aliseda was actually my favorite player at the time because I just liked the amount of passion that he showed as a winger, and the amount he actually contributed, because you could see it on the pitch. Like it was completely different when he was on than when he was off. Obviously, players like Medran at the time, he also carried that team on his back. And obviously last season we got Shaqiri and stuff like that, so that was fun to see, going to the home opener to watch him play, and throughout the season going to the games and watching players like Chris Mueller now that we have cook up Kai Wagner. That was crazy, dude. The I was at that game. I don't know if you guys watch MLS and you guys remember, or you guys maybe don't. I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but the moment when Chris Mueller megged Kai Wagner, dude, that shit was crazy. Like I was literally probably like two rows to the front. Like I was really, really close. So it was on our wings, like on our wing side, and all you see is the ball go through his feet. I was like, oh shit, and we got a goal off of it, which made it even better. But yeah, like having these experiences like at the games and like being like supporting this team, like yeah, maybe MLS isn't for everyone because you think, oh, like this is a league where like the quality isn't as good, but there's quality in the league. Like you can easily see it. Like I'm not saying this specific season, like
It's on the rise though.
it's
It's
not
very much on the rise.
it's not going to be at it's not going to compete at a level of a Premier League or at a level of like any other European league, but it's definitely on the rise. Like you see a lot of young players going from MLS to Premier League clubs or other teams in Europe. Like Alfonso Davies came out the league. You saw last season the Fire exported not only Gaga, but we also exported John Duran, and all these other young up and coming players that are starting their professional careers in the MLS. Like it's not going to be for everyone to be like, oh, this is a great quality league, but I think it's something where everyone should give it a chance and give it an opportunity to see how you like the league, because it's not going to compare to anything in Europe, obviously, with the amount of support. But there is teams out there that have like amazing fans. Like you see it in St. Louis right now. They're an expansion side that just joined the MLS this season. You can see with their attendance numbers, like they sold out their first game, and the amount of passion that team has shown, not only with the fans, but like that club as an expansion side is doing well in comparison to other expansion sides like Cincinnati when they first came into the league, or like in Nashville. Like you definitely see it, and I think it's a nice thing to be a part of, because you get to do, or you get to experience a lot of things that in other leagues like in Europe you'll never get to experience. Like you'll never get to experience a club forming in and coming into the league like this unless they're a club that hasn't been in the Premier League for a long time, or a lower division side. Like this is not something that you get to experience that often, so I think it's also a wonderful thing to see. But on that note, talking about MLS, Honda, how have you seen the landscape in this MLS season? I feel like the season's been very, very different to the start of any other season because with St. Louis coming in and the amount of teams that they've been able to upset, like what is your take? Like, how have you seen this start of the season?
First of all, for St. Louis, what kind of fucking drugs are you on? How are they doing this good? Like, here's the thing, right? You've seen other like MLS teams that come in. All right, they do somewhat decent. St. Louis came in with passion, 3 wins off the bat. And here's the thing, right? It's not like, oh, these are like clubs that, oh, you're not gonna be able to beat or like that are easily beaten, right?
Yeah.
Austin FC, right? Title contender for last year. They lost to LAFC 3-0. They beat them 3-2 in their own home, in their own stadium, right? And okay, maybe the defense wasn't as great that day, but it's still Austin. It's still Austin, bro. Like, and then Portland as well too, away as well. Their home, it's not easy to beat. And then Charlotte, I mean,
And they are the
yeah,
only
it's Charlotte.
they are the only team this season so far to win their first 3 games.
Yeah,
They're the only team with 9 points. So everyone
Although
else has either
LAFC a game in hand, you know. But
yeah. But
let's talk about that
even
later.
even no they drew. Oh yeah, they do have a game in hand.
No, they have a game in
Yeah,
hand.
they have a game
It's
in hand.
versus Galaxy.
But like even at that point, like to be even within contention of like, what is an LAFC that is a club that's been established for a couple of years now. Obviously, they were an expansion side that brought in a superstar like Carlos Vela, and they were able to build off of that and having stars like Gareth Bale, Giorgio Chiellini, and stuff like that. Like they've had stars come along their team, and you have a team like St. Louis who's just starting off that doesn't really have that all star or this mega star in their roster, and they're still playing that well. So like
Their megastar is a goalkeeper who has not played in 2 years.
No,
And Connor can disagree with me, but
No,
somehow he's
it's
doing
not.
it. He's doing it in MLS. Somehow he's doing it in MLS. Dude,
He's
what is
made
it?
4 saves. He's made 4 saves in the MLS. He made 4 saves. 2 in his first 2, and he made 2 against Portland. That's not. If you're talking about a superstar and you're talking about a goalkeeper, you're talking about Blake, you're talking about Galese, you're talking about maybe even like Slanina from last year. You're talking about the New England's goalkeeper. He's even being booked to Europe. 4 saves in 3 games is not a superstar player. The players that I would talk about for St. Louis right now is Klaus, and I know they have a German midfielder too that is doing very well.
As you can see, Connor has kind of a major bias, right? Because of what the team he used to
being
play
a
for
Dortmund
before,
fan.
and
Talking about statistics, right? And Berkey, he didn't do well in Germany. Dortmund fans hate him, including me. I like Dortmund, so I hate him. So him going to St. Louis, them bringing him in as a highly renowned player. I was like, he's gonna fail. Let's be honest, he's not gonna do well, and he's proved me right. Honestly, I mean, if you've looked at St. Louis,
proved you right.
they've had to keep up how many goals? They've had to score how many goals to keep up with Berkey being a garbage goalkeeper?
So
In the
yeah,
Austin game, they had to win like 3-2.
they do
They had to
have
score like
they do have the most amount of goals scored
Yeah,
in the
they do.
league.
exactly.
So there is
And
that.
another thing, watching this team, the goals they've scored. I mean, not to take away from St. Louis, having 9 points, it's amazing. But the quality of goals they've scored
Oh yeah, the
hasn't been
quality of the
very good.
goals is just.
Like the first one, like I'm
Weren't
not
they
sure it
giving
was their first
weren't they
goal
giving
against
away a
Austin.
pass back? It was a
Yeah,
pass back, right?
Yeah, they were giving
Austin
away a
passed
pass
the
back
ball
from Austin
to the
FC.
striker, and Austin scored. And then there was another play where Austin's defense was just terrible. Like Klaus was running through. He did like one step up, or he was just like running this way, cut this way, like just one cut, and then the guy just kept sprinting the other way. You're taught,
but that's the
you're
thing, right?
taught to keep in front of him as a defender, and you're not doing that. That's
Uh,
just bad defending from Austin. And
like
if
you
Charlotte,
think
you should be beating.
you think about it, right? And it's like Austin's one of you talk about underperforming teams. Austin has been one of the underperforming teams this season. Like they were expected to do so much. Not they were projected contenders when it comes to the MLS in this season, and they were definitely projected to beat that team that they lost to in the Champions League. I don't know what happened there. I have no idea why or how they allowed that for that to happen. But the mere fact that they got knocked out in the Champions League by Haitian side should never happen, especially an MLS club or a Liga. Any club should not be knocked out, and that's not me knocking that team. That's just me saying that the level of quality that the MLS and Liga MX should have, that should not be happening. Like the fact
See,
that, and I
yeah.
understand that this is their first time in what is a Champions League competition and stuff like that, but it's also something that it shouldn't happen. Like there's you're at home. You had what was I think it was like a total of like over 20 shots in the first half in that specific game. They had over 20 shots in that half. They were only able to score what was it two goals the whole game. Like
Yeah.
I think it speaks to the amount of good defense that was played in that game by the Haitian side, but it was also like the lack of being able to finish the like it and not being able to put chances away because there's multiple chances in that game specifically that they had that they weren't able to put away, and that's translated over the MLS as well. Like they've been making a lot of mistakes in the back as well as up front they haven't really been able to get firing. They brought in Yazzie Sardes, which they were probably expecting to provide a lot more for them, but they haven't been able to get that spark that he once showed, at Galaxy and at other teams across MLS. So it's not something where you're like, you know, it's you're surprised because it wasn't expected from this side. So I think there's other teams along the league that haven't been doing so well, and there's also been some surprising teams. Like I said, like St. Louis is one of the teams that have been a little bit surprising. They're not expected to do well, and they're doing a lot better than they probably should. And you got like I'm saying this as a Fire fan, but I have not liked the way that we've looked over the past two games, because we just we didn't look good at all. Like we have not played well. Um, I know we've drawn to a contender. We took a point from was it the Revs, and then we barely lost to Philly. But the reason why we lost to Philly, I feel like, was because of our yellow cards and the lack of discipline within the team in itself. Not only that, but not even having a natural goal scorer. I feel like Shabilko is just not it. There's a lot of teams out there that have better strikers than Shabilko in this league right now, and he's just not been performing for the amount that we gave up for him. The experiment has not been worth it, in my opinion. So, Connor, have you seen the landscape so far this season?
Um, I mean, this season definitely feels different, especially with the Apple TV deal coming in. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's true.
there's been a lot more coverage and hype coming into this season compared to every other season. Like there was a lot of talk about the league going over like in the past two seasons before the Apple TV deal came in. And like having players coming in like Ojeda to Orlando. I remember Chucho coming in last season for Columbus like in the middle of the season. You know, it looks like there's so much for the Eastern Conference. Like as an Orlando fan, look, my eyes are mainly on the Eastern
Hmm.
Conference, and I see like everyone just growing as a team, and like e- even DC looks like they can do something, and everyone was predicting DC to do nothing.
Yeah, and
You
DC's
know,
one of those rosters that have brought in players like Christian Benteke and stuff like that. So they have brought players in that
yeah,
you could say are
and
like
the
marquee
players are
players,
growing
but
too.
like they're not a side that you expected based off last season. They didn't do much. They didn't show much. So the amount of progression that you see, and I guess that speaks to the league as well. Like the amount of progression that you can see from one season to the next. Like a team last season might have been underperforming by a lot. It might not have been showing to be a team that is going to be a side to be reckoned with in the next couple of years. But in 1 year they can flip that. So there's a lot of things that play into a factor with that. And I know there's a lot of different rules here in the MLS when it comes to like designated players and under 22 initiative players and all these roster requirements and stuff like that, and maintaining things in the salary cap. Like it is a little bit difficult to build your roster in comparison to other teams in Europe, but I feel like that's the level of like it. It's kind of it's interesting to me because it's like you have all these restrictions and you still try to have to put together a side that will be competitive in this league. And I think that just the creativity that you can go about roster building with the MLS is pretty cool. So I like that as well.
I mean, talking about signings as well too. The teams that have not signed that much or haven't really been spoken about signing that much. Look at the places they are at: Montreal, Charlotte with 0 points, Houston Dynamo not really signing that much, 0 points as well too. Like you could kind of see as well. Like
Like it's key to have these signings along the league because like I think even Chicago now, I think they're starting to realize that over this past two games that we just don't have enough. I think Mansueto wants to compete. You can clearly see it with the move from when we were at Bridgeview moving into Soldier Field. Um, they have a vision for this club to be a lot bigger than what it is now. And I feel like, the only way that they're going to be able to accomplish this is being able to bring in players that will help this side become more successful. Obviously, missing the playoffs in how many ever seasons has not helped the club. So they are trying to find and develop ways, and they've developed young players. Like we have two young goalkeepers with Gaga last season. Chris Brady coming up this season, playing very very well actually. The goal that he conceded against Philly, I don't really blame for him. I mean, he should have done better, but at the same time, he is young and he's still going to develop. So I do still have a lot of hope for him. But when it comes to like even our defense wise, like we just brought in a left back from Pachuca, which is something that we desperately needed, by the way, because I'll be honest, I was playing Football Manager with Connor the other day, and we were doing an MLS save, and he was Orlando, and I was the Fire, and the first thing I told him was, I need to get left back depth because we don't have any, and like
Yeah.
and I'm glad that in real life we've been able to address this issue, and not only is it an issue that we're addressing now, but like it's a young Mexican defender, which will bring people to the games. Like it's gonna help bring in attendance because people are gonna want to be interested in seeing. Maybe this is a potential left back that can develop and be a part of the Mexican national team. Like part of this stuff is also part of the reason why this league is growing as well because a lot of the young players are also being brought into their national team sides. So I feel like the only way that the Fire can become more successful now at this point, we do have a designated player slot. We do have money because we accumulated more over 20 mil with the past two transfers the two players that we sold, we accumulated over 20 mil. So I mean, we were talking about it the other day, but like I do believe and I strongly believe that we need to bring in a player like a Raul Jimenez, like a striker that will guarantee you goals. And maybe right now in the Premier League, yes, he has not been the same since he got injured. But at the same time, I feel like he will do damage in this MLS landscape in comparison to a player like Kasper Shabilko or relying on a 38-year-old Kai Kamara. Like you need to have better options than that. And I feel like not only will he guarantee you goals, but he'll also bring you people into the games. And that's not only helping you on the sporting side, it's helping you on the commercial side as well. So that is how I feel like a lot of teams should approach the way that they go about doing their signings and using their designated players. But at the end of the day, I don't run the team, so I can just sit here and speculate. But Honda, like, how do you feel like the Galaxy can take that next step forward? Because I know you guys are right at the point where I know Chicharito's hurt, but you guys don't seem like you guys are clicking. Even last season, there was a lot of you know there's a lot of hurdles that you guys were trying to overcome that you just haven't been able to. So I don't know as a club or what you've seen from the Galaxy and how you feel like you could overcome that.
it's not even like it's not squad depth. It's not any of that. It's just literally we just had to establish kind of like a basis of like what the Galaxy want to do in the future as well too. And from what I'm seeing, they are working on it as well too. They got a 4-2-3-1, right? That they have going on. Maybe sometimes they go to a 4-4-2. All they just need to do is stick to the game plan and just actually start creating, right? Because the team, when it comes to depth, we're not lacking in depth. Like, for example, right hand side, you have Douglas Costa, Tyler Boyd, who could play on the right hand side. He could play on the left hand side as well too. And the defense, we got Martin Cáceres, Chris Mavinga. Although Mavinga last season he wasn't doing that well, this season it seems like he's doing a little bit better, right? And we have the players, we have the team. It's just getting, or for the coach to get what he wants from his head to the players as well too, right? And like we said, Javier Chicharito Hernandez, he's not going to always be there to bail us out, right? And then Jovic, although he is a great goal scorer off the bench, he's not going to do what Chicharito does on a regular basis as
No,
well.
and I feel like he's very hit or miss because like there'll be games where he'll either be on it or he's completely off it. And it's not that's not criticism towards him. I feel like the system as a whole, like in LA, hasn't been the most consistent that it possibly could be. So that in itself helps out a lot as a team. Having a consistent game plan and knowing what style of play you're going towards, because I feel like a lot of teams in the not I wouldn't say like even in MLS, just in general. Sometimes a lot of teams don't have this identity, and it's hard to build an identity when you don't really know what you want to do. And there's a lot of opportunities for you guys to go in many different routes. You guys just need to settle on one route and kind of stick to it rather
Yeah,
than trying
exactly.
multiple different things. So that is something that I've noticed amongst not only in the MLS but just a lot of teams as a whole. Like there's a lot of teams out there that have not exactly figured out what specific identity they want to build. And I feel like having an identity as a club, as a team, helps you be able to develop the club a lot more than just kind of going about it in whatever way.
For years, I have asked for a good defense, and now that we have a good defense, in my eyes, right? I just need the coach to settle on like a certain path. If we're gonna touch the ball, fine, we touch the ball. If we're gonna sprint for it and just like counterattack, okay, we do that. But just find something, stick to it, right? And then afterwards, we'll see. But right now, right, I'm just thinking, okay, it's the beginning of the season. Let's not panic, right? Just get your shit together, and that's it. Honestly, really.
All right, Connor. So I had a question for both of you, but I'm gonna start with Connor here. Who is your prediction for the top goal scorer this season? Who do you think takes it home?
Dang, that's a big one.
You got a lot of
I
players that you could pick
I know
from.
currently Jordan Morris leads it right now. I could definitely see him doing a lot more for Seattle. But I could also see him getting hurt and then missing half the season. I could also see. I also heard that he's been requesting DP and money. So who knows? He might actually leave the club since if you're not getting what you want, you're probably gonna look elsewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
He went to Europe once already. He came back though.
yeah, but if
A
I'm
lot of
going
players have
for
done that.
prediction, um, I think I'm gonna go for. Uh, yeah, I think it'd be someone from Philadelphia. That's the thing.
That's funny because the other day we were talking about why Shabilko hasn't been firing, and everyone was like, the reason why the Fire signed him was because he was scoring for Philadelphia. And the one thing you said
No,
was, "Go ahead, go ahead."
okay. I was gonna say what I said then I was like everyone can score for Philadelphia, and that's why we've seen so many guys score a ton of goals for Philadelphia.
Daniel Gazdag, Julian Carranza right now in the league. They both
Ure
have 2 goals, right?
Ure
And
scored goals for them too. I remember last season they had like even defenders scoring. I remember Glesnes was hitting shots too from like 40 yards out. I remember going to that Philly game,
because
the Philadelphia Union at their home, and all I could hear when Glesnes had the ball like 40 yards out, shoot, shoot. Everyone knows he can hit it. But I forgot my prediction for most top goal scorer is that LAFC winger
Dennis
Buang
Buanga, oh my god, he's
Buanga
annoying as fuck.
Buanga. He's fire, honestly. He
you
came
know,
in from like Saint Etienne, right, when they got relegated.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he's been hitting goals all day. By the way, whatever happened to Christian Teo?
he never
what
played.
I was about
Did
to
he
say, did he
did
not
he
play
get
for
sold?
LAFC?
He got sold. He went to Saudi Arabia. He went for the moolah. GG's.
Oh.
Adios. We don't need you here.
Wow, that's I the
You
thing
know
is
what? You could have stayed and you could have fucked up LAFC. You know what? Come back.
that's
Come
the
back,
last I
actually.
ever heard of him. I actually when I saw he went to LAFC and this season of seeing nothing, I was like, where did he go? I mean, I
Here's the thing with Dennis Bouanga, right? He's not only scoring here, he's scoring in the CONCACAF Champions League as well too. And I like to see that these teams are taking the CONCACAF Champions League seriously as well too. Because the Liga MX,
yeah.
for some reason, they decided, oh, you know what? Yeah, we win this every year. Fuck it, we're not gonna do as good. Tigres almost got eliminated by your team, Orlando.
Yeah, that's.
We didn't lose. That's all I'm saying. We
Yeah.
didn't lose.
Exactly.
I feel like you
Yes,
guys
they
got
lose.
robbed. You guys got robbed of a pen. That's just
Yeah.
that's just me.
Oh yeah,
but
no.
that's just me.
No. The thing is, this is what happened. So in that game, in like the 60th minute, I was watching it, and they turned on the World Baseball Classic.
Oh,
Hey,
jeez.
the US of A.
They turned on the World Baseball Classic in the 65th minute or something like that. So it was like this. All the Orlando City fans, like, we were, somebody had it up, and we were all watching it, and then out of nowhere, all I see is baseball, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on?
Typical United States market. They don't give a fuck. No,
This
Yeah,
is what I was talking
yes,
about before when I was saying about the US and football, right? They don't see it as something serious.
no, but I'm gonna be honest though. Like I think, and this is why I like the implementation of Apple TV into MLS, because of I feel like the amount of marketing that they've done, not only like through giving they've given free subscriptions to the league through T-Mobile Tuesday, which I don't know if you guys have T-Mobile Tuesday, if you guys don't have T-Mobile as your cell phone provider, but they were giving out free MLS season passes through that for free. So they're
Actually, I gotta see if my homie actually has the season pass. That
Like-
would be like, you know what? Can I use this real quick?
yeah,
So
I think
that's
it helps. Not only will it help promote the league, but I feel like it also bring new viewership into something where they've also done like really good promotion with the way that they've been addressing the announcers, because a lot of the announcers that people were used to when it came to local TV, whether that was through whatever station that the club went through, those commentators are still kind of connected with those fan bases, so they kept those guys around around the league, and they I mean, they're moving them to different games, but they're allowing them to still be able to commentate through the teams and the rosters that they've been commentating for years. So that's also nice. I've also liked their whip around show at the end, where they'll address and they'll talk about what happened throughout the day. I like the fact that every single game is at the exact same time. So like none of this like a random Tuesday game, a random Thursday game. Like the games are structured on a Saturday at a specific time, and everyone's playing, and that at what time you're gonna find these games at. So that also helps, and I feel like the promotion of each club and the way that they're heading towards that is allowing this league to grow a lot more. But going back to my prediction of who I think is going to be the top goal scorer, and as much as it's going to hurt me to say, I think Cucho Hernandez takes the crown this year, not only because of that Zerarayan link, but I feel like their team, once they get firing, and they'll get firing soon, because as much as he hasn't scored any goals this season, the amount of chances that he's created, and the numbers of amount of opportunities that there's going to be with having a player like Zalarayan on your team coming in from behind, like it's going to help him out a lot more. So that is my take. I think Cucho takes the crown this season. I could be wrong, but the amount of success that this roster is showing that it could have, I feel like he takes it. I don't know. Hana, your thoughts?
See, I'm gonna go with an unorthodox one, and why? Because I've just been seeing this team, like Connor has said, they have scored disgusting goals, and by disgusting, not good, right? But Joao Klaus de Mello, right? That guy is somehow gonna be top goal scorer, and he's gonna score nasty goals. By nasty goals, I just mean tap-ins. And how the fuck did he score those type of goals?
So, we were talking about, the Champions League. Briefly, we can touch on it. I mean, Atlas managed to get through Olympia, which I thought that they weren't going to. I'm going to be honest.
Olympia's not an easy team to beat either,
No,
like that, by the way.
they're not, but it was also one of those things where I didn't see anything in the first half. We did see that they scored, but, after that, I didn't really have much hope for them. But you got teams like Philadelphia going over Alianza, which is not something that would be surprised. Like we touched about, Austin losing to that Haitian team. It's not,
Violet.
yeah, Violette. Like it's not, you know, those
I
are the
was telling
results
you
where you're
guys
like,
this. I was telling you guys this. I know pretty much everything of CONCACAF, right? If you tell me, oh, this team, yeah, oh, I could talk about it. Violet. Who the fuck are they? Who are they?
it,
Like, I have not seen that team before, ever.
it's not.
I'm just like, how do they lose to a color? How does
it-
Austin FC lose to a color?
It's not one
Like,
of those teams where you
They're
expected them
pretenders.
for them to lose, and then like you had it out of España over Vancouver, like dude. Oh no, Vancouver won. My bad. They won their last game.
Vancouver absolutely demolished Real
Demolished,
España, but Real España is literally an established team in the CONCACAF Champions League as well too. Like they're not an easy team to beat, and Real España beat Vancouver, but overall Vancouver destroyed them.
Tigres only went
Completely.
through away goals. LAFC, like
They
I
lost
mean,
at home to
they lost.
Alajuelense, but
They still go
they beat them
through.
in general.
Like you got Leon winning 3-0. I mean, that's to be expected. That's my club. That's to be
It's to
expected.
be expected, but at the same time, Cawnuhh is not easy to beat either. That's why you only saw like a 3-0, 1-0 away, 2-0. Like they're
But
not
the
easy.
but the real surprise, Montagua beating Pachuca. That's not something that going. Yeah, they did go through on away goals, but realistically, who
I expected Pachuca to beat Motagua 4-0, to be honest with you. And Motagua, like, okay, they're an established team in the CONCACAF, but they're not really like threat level.
No, they're not.
They tied Pachuca in their own home to make it to the next round.
Like it's not. It's. I mean, that's surprising in itself because you only really have out of the three teams that I expected to actually get through. Well, out of all the Liga MX teams that went through in the Coca Champions League, I would have expected Atlas to be the one that got eliminated, and it was Pachuca, which is a team that has been in finals over the past couple of years. So it's
Aren't
surprising.
they playing? Isn't that team playing Tigres in the second round? The team that beat Pachuca?
Montagua, yeah, I
Yeah.
believe
Oh
so.
my god. We could have had them instead of Pachuca.
Uh,
Leon has
Hopefully
another.
they give it-
Listen, John. This time, if you lose to VLA, if you guys lose to a freaking color in the quarterfinals, you cannot come back. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say.
dude.
There's no way you guys can lose to this team.
If it was America, I'd be like, damn, they might lose. But it's Leon, bro. Come on.
The
Like,
real question is who won the World
If it's
Baseball
America,
Classic game?
please be serious. No, Leon has to win, and they have to win
Who won the
convincingly
World
as well
Baseball
too.
Classic game?
what do you mean?
Who won that World Baseball Classic game? I need to know.
Which
Because
one?
they
Oh.
wanted to interrupt my broadcast to show me. So
What
I want to
game
know
was it?
who
Who
won that
played?
game.
Who played?
I think it was like Costa Rica or something like that.
I think Mexico
World
in the
Baseball
quarterfinals.
Classic. Yeah, they're playing against Puerto Rico, which is going to be very difficult, by the way.
Hey, but shout out Mexico. They might actually win a World Cup before the actual football team.
I think they already won a World Cup, by the way, in Mexico.
In baseball.
Usually.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, but getting back into MLS action. So this upcoming week we have Seattle versus LA FC. We got Atlanta, Portland, Montreal, Philadelphia, New England, Nashville, New York versus Columbus, New York City versus DC United, Orlando City versus Charlotte, Toronto versus Miami, and then we got Chicago at home versus Cincinnati. We got Dallas versus Kansas City, Houston facing Austin, St. Louis facing San Jose, Colorado versus Minnesota, and LA versus Vancouver. This is the slate of games that we have for this week. I will be attending the Cincinnati game tomorrow, and I don't know how it's gonna go. I'm excited because I haven't been to a game in a long time, but also I'm like, I don't want to be too optimistic, and I think we all know why. Because every time I get optimistic, the team underperforms, and things like that happen. So I don't want to get too optimistic.
Cincinnati is dangerous.
But I know Cincinnati's dangerous. That's the thing.
Brandon Vasquez.
Like
Seattle.
Yuya Kubo.
I know, and that's the thing. Like I don't think the Fire have
Sergio
enough.
Santos.
We're without we're without Kai Kamara. We're relying on Casper Shabilko to score the goals for us tomorrow. That's
How about you
crazy.
guys start Misa?
Yeah, good
I
luck.
Dude,
prefer
he,
you guys starting
honestly,
Misa.
please, like Ezra, please bring him up. But Connor, how do you think I think you're going to the Orlando game, right?
We're winning. We're winning
Yeah,
that game.
yeah.
We're
There's
playing
no way.
Charlotte. We're winning.
I
See, I
mean,
feel like Orlando's gonna win 3-0. I feel like
No, no, we're not that team.
I know you're not that team, but for some reason I feel like
We
somehow,
don't
somewhere you're
score.
gonna get it.
hey, you know what?
Scoring isn't in our DNA.
I'm actually interested to see how that New England Nashville game goes too, because Nashville has not conceded a goal this season, which is actually interesting because I did not see them as a strong defensive side, although they do have very good defenders in that team.
Zimmerman,
But
Shaq Moore.
yeah, like Nashville hasn't conceded a goal yet, so I'm wondering how New England's gonna fare. But New England also haven't been playing the greatest either, so it's like it's kind of difficult to kind of see. But they
New
have the
England's
quality there,
defense
you
has been
know.
good too.
Yeah, but they got the quality there. I could see that being a 0-0, but to be honest, so at some point Nashville's gonna concede.
Gustavo
So
Bo,
Yeah.
Charles Hill, Bobby Wood,
Hani
Vrioni,
Mukhtar has
Blessing, right
but but
from New England.
but New England are
You
also at
could
home,
probably see
so
something.
there is that.
Yeah,
All
Hani
right,
Mukhtar hasn't started well this season, so I
so
want to see
kind
if
of
he
slow
breaks
start for
out in
him.
this game.
I think that'll be interesting to see how this week's of games
I'm
go.
looking forward to the battle of the two titans of the West Coast, Seattle Sounders, LAFC. I feel like that's gonna be a great game
LA's
with
away, by the
goal
way. Yeah,
scoring.
LA's away. They're not even at home.
LAFC. I hope Seattle Sounders bash them in. Although, yeah, obviously that's not gonna happen. But I would like to see a
Who
3-2,
knows?
maybe.
And
Who knows?
do you think St. Louis finally lose the game? I don't think this is a game where they lose.
No,
I
this
think
isn't the game where
I
they
think
lose.
I
This
don't
is
think this
San
is the
Jose,
game. San
man.
Jose. It's not. They're
Oh,
at home
San
too.
Jose.
It's not. They're at home. It's not a team that they should be losing to, but it is the MLS, so anything can really happen. I mean, this is one of the leagues where there's a lot of things that should be, in a sense, guaranteed, but you just never really know.
Just saying, San Jose in the games they've lost, they've looked good.
Yeah, versus Atlanta United, they looked good, right?
Yeah.
Versus Vancouver, they won. They beat Colorado as well too, I think. So that's why they have 6 points in the league. But those two teams, let's be real, Vancouver's focused on the Champions League, and Colorado's just Colorado. No offense to Colorado Rapids fans, but if there is any, but
Full offense, you're not good.
yeah,
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go positive here, and I'm gonna say we get a 2-1 win. Goals, a penalty goal from Shaqiri, and Chris Mueller scores a banger. I think that is my
Man,
prediction. That is my hopeful prediction. All right, my hopeful prediction. Connor, what are you predicting your team to do this week? What's the
Ewan
scoreline?
doesn't do bangers, number one. Number two, if he does, if it's a banger, he's doing some kind of footwork
Yeah,
because
yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
technical game's good.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I mean,
Um,
hey, Chris Mueller used to play for you, so you should know that used to be your
nah,
favorite player.
I can see a Chicago 2-1 as well.
shut up.
I can see that. I can see that happening.
Hey,
I think
Chris
he's
Mueller
gonna
used to be your favorite player, so I mean,
not my favorite player
Used to be your favorite though.
Orlando City player.
at one point.
Oh, Daryl Dink.
But yeah, for you guys, I think that Cincinnati's gonna win that one like 3-1. I think you'll get, like you said, a penalty for Shaqiri. Like Cincinnati have those like little moments where they like kind of break apart, and you can kind of like get one opportunity, and I feel like they're gonna be scared and give up a penalty early on or something like that.
And they can have an off game, honestly. Like Cincinnati with their off games and stuff like that. That's the reason why they don't make it to where they should. But yeah, again, Cincinnati.
For
Yeah.
Orlando,
For Orlando,
I
what is
think I think we're gonna win 2-0.
2-0 against
I
against Charlotte.
We haven't been good in open play of the season scoring goals, but
Yeah.
just saying, Kara scored a nice goal in the Champions League. And the main thing about Kara was he was feeling his morale was so low. He had family dying in Turkey because of the earthquakes, rest in peace. he's getting slandered by a lot of the Orlando City fans right now because of his lack of goal scoring prowess in the past 2 games that he's played for the club. So that goal, a nice goal, like a world class finish by Kara, would definitely get him back in scoring and like get that morale boosted back up and maybe get the
Cara
team.
literally told Orlando City fans to shh. I'm here.
I
Nah,
mean, there's a lot
Ramiro,
of pressure, you know.
we were shouting Ramiro Enrique. We want Enrique in the lineup. He started and he gets subbed off. He didn't do anything. Kara comes on, scores a goal. He tells us to shut up. He's still the man, he says. He's telling us that he's still that guy. And like I said before, we didn't lose to Tigres, and they are one of the best teams in CONCACAF. So playing at Charlotte, one of the worst teams across Liga MX and MLS, I fancy my chances.
I'm actually interested to see how the Leagues Cup format's going to work out for all these other clubs because there's a lot of as much as you like to think that there's a lot of bad teams in MLS, there are horrible teams in Liga MX. That's a conversation for a different day, and maybe we'll talk
Yeah.
Liga MX one of these days coming up soon. But I'm telling you, like this is not something where you're like the MLS is by itself, dude. Trust me. Mazatlan is not a team that you want to say it's a world beater at all. But
Dude,
Honda.
from going to Monarcas Morelia, a team that you would love to see, even if you don't go for them, right? You love seeing them play. The amount of nostalgia that they used to bring, Rui Diaz saving Monarcas from relegation, to now a Mazatlan who doesn't even give a shit about footy. They'd rather go play baseball. Like, my guy, please, brother, please be serious.
All right, Honda. How do you think the LA Galaxy game against Vancouver is going to go for you guys? I honestly feel like that's going to be a draw. That's just me.
It could either go 2 ways, right? Or actually 3 ways, now that you mention it. It could be a draw, 1-1. It could be Vancouver beats us 3-0. Or we could smash them in like we did last season, scoring 7 goals past them. But
7.
Chicharito's not. Chicharito is not there. So that's probably not going to happen. I want to believe in Galaxy. I want to believe in a 4-1 because Vancouver is obviously focusing on the CONCACAF Champions League as well too. So yeah, that's my hella biased result. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the 4-1.
I feel like
Galaxy wakes up.
4. That's a very optimistic.
That's very optimistic, but
you know
really
what? I feel like we'll see what happens, but I feel like this week's is actually a lot of interesting games across the league because I don't think St. Louis take the first loss. I think Austin will want to bounce back against Houston. I feel like they'll get a win there. Kansas City and Dallas, 2 teams that are, you know.
I'm going KC for that game.
I'm gonna go Dallas.
There's no way that they can't score a goal in that game. They've been 3 games without scoring. Their attack has been like so good at creating.
FC Dallas is at home, and
Jesus Ferreira 2 goals.
No way.
Jesus Ferreira 2 goals. That's
Jesus Ferreira.
Yeah, 2 goals.
Mr. Offside, you're giving him 2 goals?
I'm giving him 2 goals. One of them will be offside. The other one will actually count.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna go with the other Jesus. Jesus Jimenez might score, right? More before Jesus Ferreira, but yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, and I feel like a lot of people like I've been watching different podcasts around the league. A lot of people have been giving Miami a lot of credit. I just don't see it. I don't see it either. I don't see it. A lot of people have been giving them a lot of credit, and I think it's, the switch that they've had from playing terribly to now actually playing kind of decent, and they're getting a lot of praise for that. But I don't see them beating Toronto. I think this is a game where Toronto actually legitimately, if Insigne can come back, I know he's been questionable for the past 2 weeks, but if Insigne can come back and actually play this game, I think even Bernadette takes care of it himself. But I think if Insigne comes back, it's more of that just confirms it for me. But I feel like Toronto wins that like 2-1. I don't think Miami has.
I see a 2-0 even honestly into Miami. Like, okay, yeah, people want to give them credit as well too, but it's barely the start of the season. Okay, yeah, you beat Philly 2-0 at home, But then you go to New York City FC, which is technically a weaker team. I don't know how you guys
Baseball
see New
team.
York City, but they should be a weaker team, and they lose 1-0 with an own goal.
But yeah, I just don't see.
Baseball stadium tax.
Dude, that field is awful. Dude, I'm telling you, New York needs to. They need to
Actual
figure it
New
out.
York itself, I don't know how they're gonna get the space, but they gotta find the space. They gotta find the stadium or something like that. Maybe tear it down and build a new one, right? Because they need a proper.
They gotta figure this out. They gotta figure this out because it's been multiple years. Go
I
ahead,
have
Connor.
bias. I'm a biased person. I mean, you can see it here. I have so much bias. But I think Inter Miami are like deceiving the MLS right now with their record. I mean, their win against Philly, they did not deserve that win. Philadelphia played them off the field. Like their win was, very lucky. And I forgot who they played in the first game, but I don't think it was anyone.
Montreal, bottom of the league.
Montreal, yeah, my point exactly. They played Montreal. I thought it was either them or like San Jose, but yeah, they played like Montreal, and they barely beat Philly. Like they shouldn't have beat Philly, and they lost to New York City FC, which lost a lot of key components from like their MLS Cup win.
See, I'm taking a look at that top half of the Eastern Conference. I'm like, okay, everything looks kind of good. And then you see the two anomalies, right? You see Inter Miami and you see DC.
All right, I'm gonna wrap this up quick with one last question. What is your favorite stadium across the MLS? Your favorite, the best, your best, the best, and your favorite intertwined in the same thing. So pick one stadium.
You go first, Connor. You go first.
Connor, you go first. I know you already.
It's the one right behind me. Right behind me. Okay, I'm a step back a bit and tell you why.
Okay,
well,
go ahead.
Exploria Stadium supposedly, according to the players, that they really like our stadium because like the field, the surface is very good. It's quality. You know, it's amazing. And then going to the games, like I can hear like we have tifos a lot. A lot of really cool. A lot of very fun tifos. Like not the LAFC. Oh hey, look, it's Carlos Vela lifting the cup bullshit. It's actually like our fans take time and think about it. It's not the oh yeah, let's just pull up an image of Reece James on our stadium. No, like there's actual like fan interest in these tifos, and like our first one of the season, I remember was like hunting for more, and we have a flamingo in a crocodile's mouth, and the open cup in a crocodile's mouth, and one of the what is it, leaders of the supporters groups, as holding them together. It's just such a great tifo. We have those almost every single game at our stadium, and then just saying, what they recently have had have local cuisine they brought to the stadium, and they have right next to my season tickets seat. They have Four Rivers, which is this barbecue place, fucking amazing. So I mean that's why I love the Orlando City Stadium. Everything just works. And it's a soccer specific stadium too, which we can't say for New York City FC. But for the best one, I'd probably go with FC Cincinnati. Their stadium looks really, really good, and it's very, very new. So, I mean,
yeah, I was about to say. I think my look wise, I'm stuck between two. It's either the TQL stadium. It actually could be three. Because as much as I hate it, that Columbus Stadium is sick. But also Austin Stadium, I feel like is insane as well. The Q, I feel like that stadium is pretty crazy. But I like Cincinnati. I think I'm gonna go with Cincinnati Stadium for mine. Just because the look on the outside, the way that they could, you know, it's just like there's a lot of wonderful, beautiful things about that field and the stadium. The way that it looks, it's a smaller stadium, but you know, the amenities that it has is actually really nice. Also, you could also shout out, you know, the miniature Allianz Arena in Minnesota. You can also do that, but
Yeah, that was also nice, especially when it's snowing as well
yeah,
too.
yeah, that snow game was crazy. That interesting to see. Bahanda, go ahead.
My favorite is Galaxy Stadium, always Dignity Health Sports Park. But if I'm gonna be unbiased, if I'm gonna go, what stadium looks the best for me, right? It's like you said, there's two: Austin Stadium, Cincinnati Stadium, right? Those two, I look at them, I'm like, you know what? I have to go to one of those stadiums one day. And you know what? It might happen with Austin as well too. It might happen with Austin as well too. But I'm gonna go with Austin just because bias. A Footy Summer coming soon. We'll
Yes, that is
keep
true.
you up with dates. We're
We're
working on the dates.
we're working hard to make Footy Summer happen. But all right, guys, that will wrap up this week's episode of Compa Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys enjoyed and you guys are new here, hit the subscribe button, and we'll hit you guys with a podcast soon. All right, see you guys.